Buried beneath the cold earth of the Carpathian Mountains, something impossible was waiting. It pulsed faintly, under layers of rock and silence, as if remembering a world that had long forgotten it. What if time itself had been recording something all along? What if an ancient signal had never stopped broadcasting? And what if the thing buried here wasn't meant to be found? Yet, in 2013, a Romanian archaeological team stumbled upon what would become one of the most confounding discoveries in modern history. A metallic machine still running after thousands of years, though no one could explain what it did. As the ground trembled and the first glimmer of the object's surface appeared beneath Adrian's trembling hands, something inside it stirred, as if aware it was being seen again. By nightfall, the team had unearthed nearly the entire object. It was heavier than anything its size should allow and emitted a low vibration that resonated through the soil. Adrian couldn't shake the feeling that the thing beneath him wasn't built by human hands. Elena logged every reading, but the data made no sense. Temperature, density, even magnetism fluctuated wildly. When Andre reviewed the footage, he noticed something chilling. Between frames, the machine seemed to move slightly on its own, as if aware of being observed. The forest grew silent that night. No insects, no wind, only the steady hum beneath their feet. The next morning, the team prepared to move the machine. As cables were fastened and instruments adjusted, the object emitted a brief, high-frequency tone, one so sharp that everyone froze in place. Adrian felt it in his bones, like a whisper inside his skull. Elena looked at him terrified. They powered down all equipment, but the hum continued, now steady and rhythmic, like a slow heartbeat echoing from underground. Something inside the orb had awakened, and it wasn't going back to sleep. Back at their temporary lab, Elena's instruments couldn't identify the material. The readings showed no oxidation, no known element match, and yet the molecular structure seemed patterned, like something engineered with intelligence beyond comprehension. Professor Mihai Stan arrived from Bucharest that evening, called in by Adrian to verify their findings. When he placed his hand on the object's surface, the humming shifted tone, rising slightly, as though recognizing him. For the first time, Mihai looked genuinely afraid. Late into the night, the team couldn't sleep. The machine sat covered in the corner, yet its low resonance filled every room. Adrian recorded the vibration frequency, realizing it wasn't random. It followed a numerical pattern repeating every 8-3 seconds. It matched Earth's natural electromagnetic resonance. When he told Mihai, the older man went pale. "It's listening," Mihai whispered. "Not sending, listening." And in that moment the lights flickered, and the machine gave a single steady pulse that made every piece of metal in the room ring. Within days, the discovery reached Bucharest. Scientists, engineers, and government officials crowded around the artifact, now secured inside a research facility. Under bright lab lights, its surface shimmered like liquid glass, reflecting the eyes of those trying to decipher it. Dr. Lisa Campbell, flown in from London, leaned over the alloy with fascination. "It's not corroding," she murmured. "It's resisting analysis." When a laser spectrometer struck its surface, the beam refracted into thousands of lines, forming geometric shadows on the walls. Adrian felt an unease settle in the room. It wasn't just metal. It was responding. Lisa's report stunned the scientific board. The machine's outer shell was composed of isotopic ratios never found on Earth, fused in patterns beyond known metallurgy. It appeared both ancient and impossible. Elena noticed rhythmic electrical fluctuations synchronized to the planet's magnetic field, as if the device was tuning itself to Earth. When she disconnected the power supply, the readings didn't stop. "It's generating its own energy," Mihai whispered. The air grew heavy with a low vibration, and every metallic object in the lab began to tremble. Late that night, Adrian reviewed the footage Andre had recorded. Frame by frame, he noticed something disturbing. The symbols on the sphere's surface had shifted position since excavation. They weren't engravings. They were moving. Meanwhile, Lisa ran frequency analysis on the object's hum. The signal pattern matched transmissions from deep space, logged by radio telescopes decades earlier. Somehow, this machine was echoing the cosmos. "If it's responding," she said quietly, "then something out there might still be calling." Government observers arrived the next day, silent men in dark suits who refused to identify themselves. They spoke briefly with Mihai and ordered all data restricted. Yet the team continued their work in secret, driven by obsession more than curiosity. Using a magnetic scanner, they mapped the sphere's internal structure and found a hollow core shaped like an hourglass. When energy pulses were sent through it, the pattern mirrored solar cycles. The realization chilled everyone. The machine wasn't just ancient. It was tracking time on a cosmic scale. When the power was finally cut, the machine didn't stop. Its hum deepened into a resonance that filled the building, rattling windows and shaking the air like a heartbeat. Every monitor flickered, showing static threaded with strange symbols no one had seen before. Then, for 3 seconds, all sound vanished, and in that silence, the sphere's surface rippled like water. Adrian stepped forward, his voice trembling. "It's alive," he whispered. The hum returned, louder than before, as if answering him. Word of the discovery leaked despite government silence. Across Europe, experts argued on television and in papers. Was it an ancient artifact, a remnant of a lost civilization, or something not of this world? In the lab, Lisa studied the patterns etched across the sphere, noting how they aligned with constellations visible from Earth thousands of years ago. Mihai compared them to Dacian temple carvings and found eerie similarities. "It's as if someone long ago tried to copy what they saw on this," he murmured. Adrian stood in silence, staring at the machine's faint glow, wondering if humanity had simply rediscovered what it was never meant to lose. Elena began collecting local folklore from nearby villages. Old men spoke of a heart of the mountain, a metal stone that sang to the stars. One tale claimed it was left by gods who promised to return when the earth remembered their frequency. When she told the others, Mihai laughed uneasily. "Legends grow from truth," he said softly. That night, when Lisa cross-referenced the machine's pulses with astronomical data, she found something impossible. Every vibration corresponded to a star position. Not current ones, but from 10,000 years ago. Lisa's findings shifted everything. She theorized the machine might have been a beacon, not sending messages but synchronizing with celestial alignments. Mihai countered that it could be a lost human invention, evidence of a vanished civilization with knowledge beyond our own. Their debate grew heated, echoing through the lab. Adrian listened quietly, torn between logic and intuition. When the hum from the sphere deepened again, everyone stopped speaking. The machine responded to their voices, its surface pulsing in rhythm, as if feeding on attention itself. To test Lisa's theory, they moved the machine into a magnetic isolation chamber. As the Earth rotated, sensors recorded tiny changes in its hum that matched the planet's orientation toward specific constellations. It was reacting to the stars. The realization felt otherworldly, as if the machine was aligning itself with something beyond Earth's reach. "It's following a cosmic clock," Adrian whispered. Mihai frowned, or waiting for a specific moment. The air grew colder, as if the building itself were holding its breath. That night, a thunderstorm rolled over Bucharest. Lightning illuminated the laboratory windows as the machine's hum rose in perfect harmony with the thunder's rhythm. The team gathered, transfixed, as arcs of faint energy danced across the sphere's surface. The constellations on its shell shifted again, forming a shape no one recognized, a spiral pointing inward. "It's not showing us the stars," Lisa said softly. "It's showing us where it came from." The next flash of lightning plunged the room into darkness, and the hum stopped completely. After days of silence, the team decided to take a risk. Using frequency modulation equipment, they transmitted controlled electromagnetic pulses toward the machine, attempting communication. At first, there was no response. Then the hum returned. Deeper, more structured, like coded breathing. The readings displayed mathematical sequences repeating across every frequency. Lisa leaned closer, whispering, "It's answering in prime numbers." The room vibrated softly, and a wave of static swept through the monitors, forming a faint geometric pattern across the screens. It looked like an eye. As the signal interaction continued, something strange began to happen. The air around the sphere thickened, visible ripples spreading like heat. Distortion. Instruments malfunctioned. Magnetic readings spiked into impossible ranges. "It's altering the field around itself," Mihai muttered, clutching his clipboard. Suddenly, Elena's hair rose as static electricity filled the room. Lisa shouted to cut the power, but the lights had already gone out. In complete darkness, the machine continued to hum on its own, its glow the only light in the room. When the emergency lights flickered back on, everyone stood still. On the screens, the signal pattern had transformed into repeating geometric spirals, spinning in sync with the machine's vibration. Lisa realized the sequence was not random. It mirrored ancient mathematical ratios found in nature. "It's mimicking life," she whispered. Adrian recorded the sequence, but the data storage overloaded instantly, as if the information itself couldn't be contained. Mihai's voice trembled. "This isn't communication. It's demonstration." The following day, the team began decoding the electromagnetic pulse pattern emitted during the blackout. To their shock, it translated into an audible tone, resembling a human voice humming a melody. When played back, it caused the machine to respond instantly, harmonizing with the sound. The frequency created interference with surrounding electronics, yet within the vibration there was structure, almost like language. "It's not a signal," Lisa realized, her voice trembling. "It's a dialogue." For the first time, Adrian looked genuinely frightened. That night, the building's security cameras caught something unexplainable. The machine activated on its own, rising a few centimeters off its pedestal as if weightless. It spun slowly, projecting faint geometric shapes onto the walls, shapes resembling both constellations and DNA helices. The lights flickered, the hum deepened, and then everything stopped. When the team arrived moments later, the orb was silent again, resting exactly where it had been. Adrian whispered, "It's showing us what it remembers." No one spoke for a long time. In the following days, sleeplessness consumed the team. Every night, the machine emitted faint pulses that resonated through the walls, repeating at precise intervals. Lisa charted them, and when connected, the pattern formed a spiraling map. "It's not random," she said, eyes fixed on the glowing diagram. "It's directional." Adrian traced the points with trembling fingers. They aligned with deep space coordinates catalogued decades earlier by radio observatories. Mihai stared in disbelief. "It's not sending signals into space," he whispered. "It's receiving something back." Silence fell over the lab as realization settled in. The machine was listening for a reply. Lisa's analysis revealed the machine was not transmitting a single signal, but countless frequencies layered together. A network of resonance. Each pulse contained a fragment of a larger pattern, something akin to digital DNA. When reconstructed, it displayed a sequence identical to the fundamental constants of physics, the building blocks of the universe itself. "It's a blueprint," Lisa murmured. She didn't answer, but her expression said enough. Whatever this was, it wasn't human in origin. Late in the night, Mihai made a chilling discovery. Comparing the resonance data to known astrophysical readings, he realized the signal had changed slightly each day, adapting to solar movement, adjusting like an antenna aligning itself to the heavens. "It's waiting for a specific moment," he said, voice trembling, When Elena cross-referenced timestamps, the synchronization pointed to an upcoming solar storm predicted within hours. Lisa looked up from her screen, whispering, "Maybe that's what it's been waiting for all along." The solar storm struck earlier than expected. Outside, electricity flickered across Bucharest as waves of radiation hit Earth's atmosphere. In the lab, the machine pulsed violently, resonating in harmony with the storm. Monitors shorted out, magnetic fields bent visibly, and static filled the air with crackling whispers. Then, a beam of pale light shot upward from the orb, splitting into thousands of shimmering symbols that filled the room. The team stood speechless. "It's decoding," Lisa gasped. For the first time, the machine was translating its message. When the storm passed, the machine fell silent once more. The lights returned, flickering weakly. On every screen in the lab, a single repeating pattern remained, a sequence of symbols forming a spiral, slowly rotating. Lisa's voice cracked as she whispered, "It's not just a receiver, it's a memory." Mihai leaned forward. "A memory of what?" Adrian stared at the spiral, unable to speak. The machine pulsed once more, faintly, as though exhaling, and then went dark. Outside, thunder echoed like a heartbeat beneath the clouds. Weeks passed without a sound from the machine. The government ordered the research sealed, and security guards were stationed at every door. Yet, in the silence, Adrian felt it. An invisible pulse, subtle but alive. One night, while reviewing archived footage, Elena noticed something terrifying. Between two frames, the sphere had shifted position. By millimeters, but undeniably moved. "It's still active," she whispered. They gathered in the lab, the hum faint at first, then building again, steady and deliberate, as if the machine had been listening all along, waiting for the right moment to respond. At dawn, strange readings began flooding the instruments. Massive electromagnetic surges across multiple frequencies. Lisa analyzed the data, realizing they matched signals recorded during the previous solar storm. "It's sensing again," she said, her voice barely audible. Adrian's chest tightened as he glanced toward the covered object. Without warning, the machine began to vibrate, the table rattling beneath it. One by one, every device in the room powered on by itself, their screens flashing the same spiral pattern. It was no longer dormant. It was reawakening. The machine's hum deepened into a resonant tone that vibrated through the air and into their bones. Light rippled across its surface like liquid metal alive with intelligence. Then, geometric projections burst outward, painting the walls with intricate constellations, patterns shifting faster than the eye could follow. Lisa realized in horror that they weren't stars. They were coordinates. "It's mapping something," she said, her voice trembling. Mihai squinted at the glowing figures. "No, it's showing us where they are." The hum intensified until the room itself seemed to breathe. Suddenly, the lights in the facility exploded into blinding brilliance. The machine released a deep, thunderous pulse that shook the ground. A wave of invisible force expanded outward, freezing every clock, every screen, every system. For several seconds, time itself seemed suspended. Adrian could see particles of dust floating, motionless in the air. Then, within the sphere's light, a form began to emerge, human-like, translucent, composed entirely of shifting geometry. It wasn't a being. It was a message made visible. Then it spoke, not in sound, but through vibration, a rhythm that resonated directly within their minds. Lisa gasped, clutching her head as images flooded her vision, stars forming, galaxies spinning, civilizations rising and vanishing like sparks in darkness. Adrian fell to his knees, overwhelmed. The voice wasn't alien, but familiar. Ancient, patient, as if it had always been here. When the vision ended, the light faded, and the machine fell silent once more. It wasn't trying to contact us. Adrian whispered. It was reminding us who we are. Outside, dawn broke over the horizon, painting the sky the same color as the sphere's dying glow. By morning, armed officials surrounded the facility. The machine was classified as a national security object and removed under heavy escort. The research team was silenced, their notes confiscated, their footage erased. Adrian stood helpless as soldiers sealed the lab behind thick steel doors. "It's not ours anymore," Mihai whispered, his voice hollow. Lisa refused to leave, staring at the empty pedestal where the sphere had been. She turned to Adrian. "They think they can study it," she said quietly. But it was studying us. Outside, the convoy disappeared into the mountain fog, carrying the machine into secrecy. Months passed. The team returned to their ordinary lives, yet none of them truly recovered. Adrian lectured again, but his words felt hollow. Mihai retired quietly, while Elena left academia altogether. Every so often, Adrian dreamt of the sphere's hum, that low vibration echoing beneath his thoughts. It felt alive somewhere, waiting. In the silence between heartbeats, he could still feel it listening. Then, 2 years later, it happened again. A security leak surfaced on an obscure online forum. Grainy footage of a dark warehouse where the machine stood humming once more. The same blue glow pulsed through the shadows. In the video, technicians in hazmat suits surrounded it, their instruments flashing red. As one stepped closer, the camera feed cut out. The clip lasted only 12 seconds, but it spread across the internet before authorities could suppress it. The world began asking questions that no one could answer. Adrian saw the footage late one night and froze. The hum came through his speakers exactly as he remembered. Steady, resonant, alive. He recognized the rhythm immediately. The same pulse that had echoed during the solar storm. He called Mihai, his voice shaking. "It's back," he said. On the other end, silence. Finally, Mihai whispered, "Then it's listening again." Adrian stared into the flickering light of his monitor, the sound filling his room like a heartbeat from the Earth itself. Weeks later, new anomalies appeared across Europe. Unexplained electromagnetic pulses, compass malfunctions, lights flickering in patterns matching the machine's rhythm. Governments denied any connection, but satellite scans showed a faint signal repeating every 8 seconds, just as before. Somewhere beneath Romania, something had awakened again. Adrian recorded the pulse and played it back one last time. It wasn't random. It was a message, slow, deliberate, and hauntingly human. "We are still here," it seemed to say. And then the signal stopped.